Om Shanti. Good morning. Is the sound okay?
Yes, okay.
Okay, so welcome everyone. And today we're going to look into a very interesting topic, um, a topic that really fascinated me from childhood, um, because when I was very, very young, I used to have this thought or a question, and my question was, who is this one who is thinking? So I was a child who would be very curious, and I was so curious that I was looking at, my thoughts, and I was wondering who's this one who was thinking, and there was total confusion because I couldn't find the answer um, on this question. So it used to confuse me, but at the same time, because of curiosity, I used to really um, be fascinated about these kind of things. And eventually I started learning meditation and going to explore this further. So um, the topic is inspired by the Murli, the um, the benefit of slowing down the speed of your thoughts, which you have read a few days back. And as usual, this can be an interactive sharing rather than a talk, as I usually like to do that. And I think that's more interesting and beneficial also. So please feel free to speak anytime you like. Um, of course, keeping in mind others as well. So um, so that everybody can benefit. So to start with, I was thinking of two examples about our thoughts. And one example is like thought is like the wealth that we have. So everybody comes with a fixed amount of wealth, um, and therefore we should be able to use our wealth in a wise way. Yeah. If we waste our wealth, then we can become poor very quickly. So I think thoughts are a little bit like that. But if we invest that wealth, then we might end up having more than what we started with. But if we keep wasting it, you know, very, very quickly, without any wisdom, um, we will we might invest in wrong places, and so we get losses. So we'll explore that um, a little bit later also. Um, that how actually gold helps us increase our wealth, how we can use our thoughts so that we can actually increase, and how does that happen. Second thing is, the thought that came to my mind was a production line. So when there is a factory that is producing something, if we have overproduction, then we will be compromising on our quality. Okay, we might be making a lot of products, yes, but the quality of that product starts going down, and so people don't value it as much. because we are producing so much. So thoughts is a little bit like that. Okay. And there is a time where we can actually get losses just because there is overproduction. It goes into waste. Just like, you might see that there is a certain area, you have those conveyor belts, and there is something further that kind of has some problem because of overproducing. Then all of these products, they show that they are getting wasted, they are getting thrown off, and you can't do anything, you can't use them. So you have lost all those material that you have invested in. They have to be scrapped or thrown off, you know, and sometimes you can't salvage anything. So this is another example which is directly correlated to the speed of our thoughts. So I'm gonna ask you now uh, to participate, and I have a few questions which probably will help us to understand this subject even better, and a few of advice that Baba gave us on how we could actually um, help ourselves in this aspect of overthinking and thinking very quickly. Okay. So the question that I thought was useful to understand is, why do we think? Why do you think we think? Sounds like a very obvious question, right?
There is some sort of a pleasure, you know, even in thinking.
There is a
So,
pleasure.
yeah, some sort of a pleasure that we experience while
We
thinking.
experience some kind of pleasure when we think. Okay, but why do we think?
to, to end in actions,
Because
to do any actions, we need
to do
to think.
action. Okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it is true. There is pleasure also. We feel some kind of pleasure when we think. And also to do action, yeah.
Maybe it's
Anything?
an automated process, brother.
It's an
Since
automated
childhood,
process.
since we keep hearing people talk, people say out, and as we grow, the senses keep getting information, and that's how it becomes automated unless we consciously put a stop to it.
Yeah, okay. Okay, unless we consciously put a stop, yeah. But from the roots of when do we start? Somebody says mind's job is to think. Yes, mind's job is to think. When do we start thinking?
When our sense organs, right, take any sort of an input, we
When
have this
input,
eyes,
yeah,
nose, ears, mouth, and hand, right? So these are the main inputs for the mind to even produce thoughts.
very true. Yeah, there is some trigger, and then mind starts producing those. Yeah. There's somebody else who wanted to speak. Yeah.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Actually, what I feel that what I am now is the outcome of the past days, past years, past decades, births, past births also. What I am today is the outcome, is the accumulation of all the inputs which I have got in the earlier births, earlier days. Maybe that when my body senses are not there, that doesn't mean that thought process is there, that the input is there. But yes, उसको प्रत्यक्ष रूप में करने के लिए वो इंद्रियां चाहिए. It has to make it in a practical way to express.
Yeah.
Yes. For that, we need this is my
I
body.
agree.
Yes.
Some of the
That
aspects, yes.
expression, that yes, that expression. Maybe if we are not aware of the language, we learn the language and then we express. That doesn't mean that we don't know the language, we are not able to express, we doesn't think. That thought process is spontaneous on. It is going on and on. When we learn the language, we talk to a person who is Marathi in Marathi language, expressing.
Yeah.
South Indian language. But
Yeah.
before learning that language, even that language, that expressive language or signal language, still that process is on. Om Shanti.
Somebody says
What,
thinking is being.
Arif Bhai, there
Yeah.
are certain
Just
things
one
when you
second.
think.
One second, Girjavan. Just I was reading one part, and I would like your opinion. Is thinking is being? Somebody says thinking is being. So you can share, and also you can share whether you agree with this or not.
No, the thing is that thinking is not always that. See, I just go here, I walk here, there are no thoughts. There are certain things which just happens. So when suppose there's an action stopped, that's where the mind says, hey, what I have to do. So there are every time a baby doesn't think what to do and all, there's no thoughts pattern at all over there. So like that, there are certain actions which, as somebody said, it's a thing of a sense organ. The hand moves, the eyes see, the ears hear. So there's no thinking at all involved over there. There's no energy involved. That's what I feel. But uh, when the action, somewhere the question, oh, is this or that, hey, when a question comes, I think the mind comes in between.
Okay, so a few thoughts about this. What happens is a soul actually doesn't need to think. Okay? The only reason that the soul starts thinking is because it comes into this physicality, into the physical body. A soul by itself does not need to think anything. Okay? So all the things that you have said, they are pointing towards a particular state that we get into, that we cannot function unless, well, we could function actually, but we can't function as human beings if we don't have this faculty of thought, right? So the reason that we think is because we are in this form, in this physical world, and that's the reason why there is thinking. Um, there is a debate about this, but in reality, the animals, they also live in this same environment, but the way they live is slightly different than us. I would go into whether they think or not think, but they are very instinctual, you know. That process is not similar to human beings. Obviously, we see that there is the expansion of human beings, the way it is, the way we behave, the way we talk, the way we deal with things is quite different than animals. You know, otherwise, as we said, no, the birds wake up, the birds go to sleep, the bird look for food, the bird produce birds, the birds, you know, play, you know, you can say, but they don't sit to think, you know, they don't have a 5-year plan or 4-year plan, right? They live in a very natural way. Yeah. So, so there is some difference, you know, between human beings, and that the reason I think we have this kind of process of from the senses as an input to the memory that we have, you know, to the conditioning and beliefs that we have, and then little bit of programs that determines our thoughts. Okay, And also we have another part, which is our intellect that we use also. So because we have this system and the system requires that process, we start actually creating thoughts. And initially, we don't create that much thought. But as we go, we start creating thought and we'll look into why do we create thoughts. Okay. And yes, usually the result is action. Okay, because we need to act. Okay, so the moment you become an actor, you cannot say that you're not acting. And if that acting is just sitting quietly and not saying anything, that also is acting. Okay, not thinking also is some kind of process also that is happening, and there is some choice also. So there is all this for human being. This is quite predominant. Um, People have said a lot of things about animals, but just sticking to human beings, that's how we see that the process works. The other thing that I would like also to explore is why do we think a lot? Why do you think that we think a lot? Why do we think a lot? Okay, we think that is okay, all the things that we have said, but why do we think a lot?
Think a lot? Is that the question?
Yeah, we have a lot of thoughts, no? So
Yeah,
very fast.
see,
We are very fast. Why? Why?
when there is no synchronization between my thinking and action, or action is one, but too many kinds of things come. So then I go into alternative thinking, different kinds of thinking. When there is no synchronization with what I want to do, then my thought process goes on evolving. It evolves to find out an action according to my expectation.
Okay. Okay. So I don't know. Probably that's why I think more.
And another a reason why people think a lot is when the soul power becomes, reduced.
Hmm.
So
And what
when
happens
people are
when this? Yeah.
powerful, so their thinking is less, but it's powerful. When they are less, the power
Ah,
is less. Then
ah.
the
Okay. Very
the
good.
thought is number of thoughts are very high.
Yeah, very good aspect. It's related to our power. The when something has less power, you have to use more. It's less. We said it's less potent. No. So if something is less potent, then you have to add more. No. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Okay, somebody says online, unconscious belief, conscious belief, different leads to thinking. Unconscious belief, conscious belief, difference leads to thinking. Okay. Anyone else? Why do we think a lot?
If we feel insecure, then
Ah,
there will be more thoughts, lot of
why do we feel
thoughts.
insecure?
Insecurity without knowledge. So how the life we led past. So now we
Well,
feel so protected.
yeah,
Mm,
this is
So
such
we
a it's a very interesting point. But why do we feel insecure? It's a very, very
sort of
important point.
so the situations, the commitments, the responsibilities, and
Situation,
all our
responsibility.
wrongdoings. Mhm. So all the wrongdoings and the consequences at the end, we feel so insecure, fear,
Yeah,
some
life becomes
types
such
of
a burden.
entanglement.
Yeah, yeah.
Fear is actually a
Vijit bhai,
wise.
can you speak louder a bit? It's not
Yeah.
your side. My speaker is a bit weak.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Better.
Yeah, I was saying, fear is a vice. So vice comes only when the soul becomes weak.
Again, to the power.
Yeah, to the power. Yes.
Okay. So one of the way also to put it is that there is insecurity because we have lost our identity. When we know who we are, then we are fully secure. Okay. The reason that we have lost or we have misidentified ourselves makes us permanently insecure. Okay. So the word that I have in mind, or the thing um, that I thought was the root cause um, of thinking too much, was insecurity, and another thing is lies. Where there is no honesty, think about a child. When you were a child, or when somebody is there and you say a lie, then because you know that you're not really honest, you have to support that lie with other lies. And that creates a lot of more thoughts. Even sometimes when you're explaining somebody, you say, this is because of that. And then after 1 minute, you don't stop there. And then you start expanding and explaining and justifying. Baba calls this like, to become a lawyer. So when you become a lawyer, you have to sustain those lies with a lot of other lies. And we end up then being, having to create much more thoughts because they are not strong, one. And secondly, they are not true also, you know. So we, yeah.
Arif Bhai, are you saying the thinking a lot is equal to overthinking?
Yes,
Can you take it as
overthinking
overthinking?
is thinking a lot, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
actually,
not only
sometimes
that,
that's good, I
thinking a
think,
lot
because
and at the fast speed, sorry. At
are you
the,
saying it as overthinking?
yes, overthinking, thinking a
Yeah, then
lot.
overthinking is sometimes not bad because we know when we think longer, analytical solutions are there. Otherwise, of course, there's one thing I cannot focus because I'm thinking a lot and I've left some precious thoughts. But sometimes it's good overthinking more because I get analytical solutions to face a problem. Certain things which I didn't look suddenly comes to my mind. So many other things come. So I think there's not of course, my mind is tired, energy is lost. That can be there. But I think the solution which comes out of it sometimes is very good.
Yeah. So I think brother said that we like to think, you know. So this is like a trap. Because you love thinking, you think a lot, thinking that, oh, this is so great. Okay.
Thinking, thinking a lot is okay, but what you're thinking is very important. The quality of thoughts makes a lot of difference.
Yeah. Yeah. And we, because we enjoy doing it, so we think that, oh, it's so great, And even in knowledge, people start feeling that, oh, they are churning because they are overthinking. They're thinking. They think that, oh, this is, really nice and good. But in reality, they are wasting their currency because think about it. You have a fixed amount. Okay. If you have something that is fixed, how are you going to use it? Okay, let's say you have the last 50 rupees note. That's the only money that you have. How are you going to use it? You will break it down and you will use little by little, and you will use only when it is necessary. So the assumption that we have is, we have so many thoughts, we can use as much as we want, but you don't realize that you're using up your currency. Sanjay Bhai. Oh, if you were going to share, yeah.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
The quality is always there. Quality should always be there. And if you go for quantity,
yeah,
and it is said that quantity is inversely proportional to quality.
Yeah.
More you will think, see what happens when you speak less. Baba says, "Kam bolo, dhire bolo, meetha bolo." Speak less, speak softly and sweetly also. That means Baba wants us. क्योंकि होता क्या है कि when we express, we have the material actually. We have the material in our brain that to be expressed. If we think less, that will not get diluted. And when you speak less, whatever you will say, say something concentrated, as it is said, that's a concentrated drink and diluted drink. Concentrated drink will have better quality than diluted drink. It is just like same thing.
Let's not go there.
No. Yes.
But yeah, we understand. Concentrated juice.
Yes. And that has more impact.
Yeah.
From the diluted drink, the concentrated does the more impact.
Yeah.
And so due to that only Baba says, when you speak less, when you speak softly, it has got a better impact on the other soul.
We have to be careful, huh? In this workshop also we are watching, who's speaking too much.
Yes.
I will lose, I'm sure, because I'm the one who will be speaking a lot. But again, this speaking is so that we can learn, so when we are sharing, you have to also watch. Yeah.
Arif bhai,
yeah.
As you were sharing, and I don't know who was the other brother who shared. As I told you, overthinking sometimes, in your word, thinking a lot is good. I was just thinking, sometimes it's my thing of imagination. Take, for example, I know a storm is going to come. Then I think a lot what I'll say, oh, the storm shouldn't come. Oh, I hope it is, if it comes, it's going to be very dangerous. Oh, this and that. So, I find sometimes if you think a lot, you're just skipping solutions. You're not finding solutions. But instead, if I think less, maybe, also what if the storm comes? I'll go and I'll pick up everything. I'll get ready.
Exactly.
Blah, blah.
Exactly.
I mean, all those things. Sometimes, of course, that's what I think I got to understand when you said, sometimes it gets imagination out of focus. My mind is very clever in such things.
So somebody mentioned that when need is not fulfilled without understanding the need of the need, I think that's when we think too much. Yeah. So we understand one thing, that we have to think, and the reason we have to think is that we are in this physical world, and the reason that we are functioning here, therefore we have to create these thoughts. Okay, so just summing up, and we know that the more quantity of the thought, there is less clarity of what you want. And when we have less clarity, it is difficult to find a solution. Okay, so it's just like muddy water and clear water. In clear water, if there is something inside, you will immediately see and pick it up. Whereas in muddy water, you have to wait, you have to search, you have to look. Okay. The other thing is that when we think a lot, we lose our energy. When we lose our energy, we become weak. When we become weak, we are not able to function. Okay. So this whole story, remember, only is applicable when the soul is in a body in this physical life. When the soul is not in the body, there is a different story. Okay. And that functioning only is different. Okay. When a soul is powerful, it is secure. So it doesn't have to think that much. That's why in the golden and silver age, we don't have to think too much. We don't have to speak too much. Okay. As our needs become more and our power becomes less, that's where thoughts are starting to multiply. As a currency, if we use up so much without investing, then we will end up, not having, or we will end up having issues because stress will build up. Then there will be mental issues, and then there will be illness. Yeah? So this all Baba spoke very nicely. So the solution now, okay? Baba said that, okay, instead of you thinking too much, okay, Baba gave us an understanding about the cycle and said that children, that this cycle is predestined, it's fixed. Everyone has a part. Okay. Everyone is playing their part. There's nobody's part which is wrong. Everybody's part is correct as per them. Okay. So focus on what you have to do. Okay. And then understand that this is exactly as what you did before. There's nothing that is new in this movie. This movie is already shot. Okay. So Baba made us understand that very clearly. The second thing he told us is that, okay, your habit of thinking is there. If you want to think, turn the ocean of knowledge. Turn. Okay. So what he's saying is that become awake, become aware of who you are. Okay. So when you do that, what will happen? You start gaining energy. When you start gaining energy, you won't feel insecure. When you don't feel insecure, you won't have to invest so much. Okay. So he gave us an option. Okay. Either divert, at the stop. Okay. You're seeing that there is overproduction. Stop production line. Your switch is with you. Stop it. Okay. Don't go into that, mode of overproduction. Immediately when the losses are happening, stop it. Okay, when you see your thoughts are going towards waste and negative, everybody knows what's a waste thought. A waste thought is a repeated thought that we keep thinking and thinking without of any, like Girja Ben said, there is no solution for that. There is no benefit for that. And we keep thinking about it. We keep thinking about what others are thinking. We keep thinking about what is going to happen. These are no use. Okay. So just pause, stop. Okay. Immediately. You'll cut down the voice. Another thing that Baba said in that movie is divert your thoughts into something useful. Okay. So when we are thinking of benefiting others, when we are thinking of good wishes in our heart, when we are thinking of anything that is useful for us and for others, we receive a lottery. And the lottery is in the form of blessing. Okay. So when you do something or when you think something and then you act upon it, then what happens is we increase our wealth by receiving wealth from other people because we receive blessing. Blessing gives us power. Okay. We become powerful. And that's what a very wealthy person, the power, the potential power increase. Okay. So Baba guided us and showed us that method. And then finally, there is this point that was discussed a bit in the when we were reading the Murli about the words. The amount of thought that you create is proportional to the words that you speak. If you think more, because thought is first has no form, then it becomes before the thought, there is no form, then it becomes thought, then that thought becomes action and usually through words. Yeah. So then Baba said a very nice advice, which is tangible. Okay, because sometimes we think, but we are not aware. But what you say with your mouth, you are very much aware. If you are saying a lot, you will realize. Okay, and therefore, Baba cautioned us that we need to um, watch our speech, and we have to use less words, but more effective words. That we don't have to speak too much. And I will share with you a practice, and you can share me your practice also. Okay. One of the interesting example also is said that like when we are Baba compared this with the bamboo jungle, right? And he said that in a bamboo jungle, they automatically grow, and there is so much growth that they start rubbing with each other, because they have become so many of them, and then eventually it becomes a fire, no? And then the whole bamboo jungle gets destroyed in this fire. So Baba gave this as an example. So we should not have this inner burning that happens because so many thoughts are rubbing with each other. And then eventually anger will come, revenge will come, all those things that will burn us, jealousy will come. Yeah. So we have to be thoughtful. Okay. So I will share my practice and then maybe you can share your practice. And if you like any of the practice, maybe this week we can focus and we can start seeing if we can use this in our lives. Yeah. So the first thing that I thought was when I started preparing for this, I was thinking, let me check. Okay. Because the main thing is the thoughts. Okay. When people are speaking, when I'm involved in a conversation, I used to check, do I need to respond to this? How much do I need to respond to this before I would respond? So this week I was like, it was so nice to do this practice because I noticed that when I did not think too much, okay, even thinking, when I held myself not to say, because we have this desire to speak, you know. When I did that, what happened is I started noticing that I'm actually having more energy. Okay, I felt more energy. And second thing I noticed that I help the other people also not to have waste, you know, because we are surrounded by people. We are living in a world where there are others. Okay, um, we have to be careful because if we start promoting other people and their speaking and their stories and their waste, that waste will start coming into us. Okay. If we start seeing fault in other people, that will make us think more. Okay. And then we will start getting whatever wrong things that we are seeing in them. We will start actually um, uh, seeing it in our life. For example, when somebody says to you that look at those people, they are gossiping. Have you heard somebody telling you, look at those people, they are always gossiping? Have you heard somebody saying that? So they are gossiping themselves, right? So immediately, whatever you are talking about other people, you're actually also referring, you know, in other words, indirectly, you're doing it yourself. The very fact that it is not useful or helpful for that other person, and you are not doing with the right intention, it means that you are taking some waste. When you take waste, of course, that will drain you. Yeah. So it's a very tricky thing, and it's a very subtle thing, you know. Um, but we have to be very, very watchful. Yeah. So what I would like you to do is I would like you to pause for a moment and think about whatever we have discussed, and think of one practice that you would like to adopt. Okay, we have discussed many. Think of one thing that you would like to practice for the coming week. Okay, so let's have a pause for 2 minutes, 2 minutes, and then you can share what are you going to do from Baba's Murli, and how you going to experiment. So let's have a minute or two. Okay, now your turn. What you gonna practice? Let's be
And
specific.
there are
Yes.
just one or two which, as you were saying, I remember when I used to go for these management workshops and all, there was one thing which we learned in when I'm thinking a lot. One is distracting myself. Suppose, I left my key somewhere and I don't know, I think, oh, I would have left it here, I left it here. They just say, pause, take a cup of coffee, or do some work in the garden. Suddenly, they say the brain works and finds a solution. So, that one I always like to do. Stop. That's called as distracting thoughts. But here, Baba only speaks of speed. He has not spoken about thinking right. So I think that probably Baba thought was a different kind of subject. He didn't say speak. Then I like this, what we call it as some kind of skills. One skill you said self-awareness, self-control, self-acceptance, self-confidence. These kind of skills, if I develop in me a kind of thing, maybe that also can provide for me a medicine, or like being assertive or saying, okay, stop, setting boundaries. And last but not the least is meditation. Because meditation, or you call it as silence, or you call it as reflection, whatever language. These are some of the things I generally try to do whenever I find bogged up.
So let's get focused and pick one practice that you're going to practice out of all this. Just pick one, and then just for a few days, just pay attention to that one practice that you're going to adopt for the next week. Okay.
Om
So just
Shanti.
yeah, I want your sharing of what you're going to adopt for the next week. What are you going to do
Yes,
specifically?
it is very difficult to say one thought because that is the accumulation of thought
Practice, I mean.
that will come out. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I will take the letter think, word think, because now the problem is what to think, what not to think. The T, I will take it as trust yourself, trust God, trust Ishwariya Privar, and trust others. And H should be your honest approach. And I should be not for inspection, but I should be for introspection. And N should be not for nakaratmak, but N should be for nirakari, nirvikari, nirahankari. And K should be for knowledgeful. If we make the things in a single ball, and if we take the capsule daily, I think that will work. Om Shanti.
Yeah. Okay. So somebody said thinking is like traffic. When it is too much, it becomes jam. So come socho, come bolo, dhire bolo, meeke bolo. Hearing other story means then our mind becomes like a dustbin. Very nice to use. That Janki used to say, never hear unwanted story. Okay. All right. Bijit Bhai, what's your practice?
Yeah, so SOS, stop, observe, and steering. So the stop is, just to put a full stop, just to create an interval, just to see the self, and observe will, when it is observed state, so observe the quality, and change means, steering means changing. So when we observe the quality, if it's not up to the mark, then steering to a more worthy thinking. So it's not that I want to practice or take to a mind stop thinking stage, emptying the mind, no, but more of focusing on quality. Yeah, that's the practice. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. Others, what you going to practice for the week? Somebody who has not shared anything. Can you just at least tell us what you're going to practice for the week? You can type or you can speak.
Brother, yesterday's slogan also I felt so different and keep on thinking from yesterday onwards. So if each sankalp is having a stamp of a kingdom, then it becomes so strong.
uh,
That slogan also, it's quite different there. So that quality of thoughts. So I am trying to bring in this week to that.
okay. So you have to make a plan though. You know,
Yes,
if you have
according
a
to the
plan,
alignment.
like,
It's
yeah, how you going to do it? Yeah, that's a very good idea. But how you going to implement it?
yes, but to align with the truth. So I have to bring my line according to the truth. So from the actions, from my action itself, I can able to know how much I am there in that
Yeah,
alignment.
yeah,
So
of
that I
course.
am going to check myself through my actions.
Yeah, but you have to bring it to your attention every time. Otherwise, you'll forget
Yes.
it.
Thank you, brother.
Another one? Anybody else who's going to practice something will remember I am on the stage performing actions. Okay. So, also, one more thing you can add there, people are watching you. Okay. So, you remember that I'm on the stage performing action and people are watching me. Okay. So, that might help. Okay. Radhamaniji says, speak less, maintain silence. Okay, so you're going to check yourself, huh? So it's not just you say that speak less and then you actually speak more. You have to check yourself that you are actually reduce the amount of speaking. Okay, so all these are very good, but you have to make sure that you're doing it. Yeah, so this is a practice. Okay. Uh, and I will ask somebody to check if you are doing your practice. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Last thoughts? Your practice? Anything before we close?
Om Shanti.
Om
Um,
Shanti.
Silence itself is a language, so the people who understand us can understand our silence.
Yeah, people can. And are you able to understand other people's silence also? Are you able to also? It's not like, yeah, okay, they can understand us, but also I need to be able to understand others. So there's a
Yes,
lot
that's
of,
what I said. Those are very close to us can understand our silence. But
yeah,
there's also when you don't know the people, but due to the face expression and the body language can tell us that something is wrong with that person or something is going inside, is struggling with that. So we can understand that silence at certain time.
yes, yeah. Yeah. There is also science that backs up that only 7% of what we speak is actually the communication. Most of the communication happens not with words, but with other uh, medium, like for example, the tone, um, your voice, and your body language. So definitely, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. So, okay, so shall we
Om
do
Shanti,
some?
brother.
Yeah. Yes,
Om
sister.
Shanti, brother. I
Go
will
ahead.
share one thing. Our sister Beena ji, head of Tamil Nadu zone, shared one incident. Once they attend a auditing meeting held at Madhuban.
Mhm.
That meeting takes 7 hours to complete. In that 7 hours, Dadi Janagi spoke only 2 words. This shows how the Maharathis control their thoughts. This is a very touching point. I will try this. Speak less is very difficult. Anyway, we will
Thoughts, maybe
control our
difficult.
thoughts.
These are thoughts. Leave them. Don't touch this idea that these are thoughts. No, I will do it means I will do it. They should not, because many people they come, they listen to the course, and then they say that, oh, this is very difficult. You said the moment you say this is very difficult, it's mine. Okay. Or if you say I will start tomorrow, that is mine. Okay. Immediately, there's nothing that is difficult. I am master, almighty authority. Nothing is difficult for me. Okay. You keep that Here, that's a powerful thought. Don't keep deep thoughts. Yeah. Baba doesn't like a few words, like sometimes, maybe, I will. Yeah. So these are not the language of Brahmins. The language of Brahmins is very clear, very powerful. So the speed is directly proportional to the quantity also. Somebody was mentioning about speed. So, we need to understand this. Okay. So let's do a little bit of exercise just to finish off. Okay. So this is something also that I've been experimenting. Just come into your awareness of who you are. Either soul, original qualities of peace, love, and joy. I don't have to work hard to be in remembrance. Baba is with me all the time. When I remember I'm a soul, that means that Baba is with me. This is not something that I have to work hard for. This is given. It's already here. It is happening right now. The remembrance is not something that I have to do. The remembrance is happening. It's always happening. Under the condition that I'm not my mind, I'm not my thought, I'm not my story, I'm not my labels, I'm not my identities. When this is true, there is zero attachment, no desires. I am completely free and completely secure with the Father. Come into this space in a second. And stabilize yourself as a point. And this doesn't mean that there are no thoughts. The thoughts might come, just watch them. You know this is not you. You can watch them in the same awareness of being combined, being a soul. Soul is watching the thoughts. And just stay in that awareness. You can do that while walking and moving around, or like this practice that we are doing now in meditation. I'm a soul. combined, never separated, watching the drama unfolding, participating in the drama, not losing focus. Every action that you do in this stage, in this state, has to be accurate. There is no thinking involved, it's automatic. If it is sometime negative or has any waste, Baba will remove it because Baba is combined. You will immediately realize and it will be corrected. You don't have to think about it. So let's be in this awareness. Always reminding ourselves till this is a natural state where we don't have to remind ourselves. We know. Thank you.
Om Shanti. Thank you to Baba. Thank you, Arif Bhai. Thank you, Divine Family. See you tomorrow at 5 am. Until then, have a wonderful day and wishing you all a happy Baba Willing.